I was sent on a journey to Europe, in a district of land between Berlin and Leipzig. I'm a reporter and want to experience the thrill of a cultural landscape that will become a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Medieval castles set amongst the most spectacular vineyards welcome me. I've nearly reached my destination of Naumburg on the river Saale. One can sense the spirit of the centuries in the historical old quarter. Naumburg is home to a world-famous treasure, the Cathedral of St. Peter and Paul. A legendary witness to time made of stone. The Northwest Tower offers a glimpse into a fascinating cultural landscape of the late Middle Ages. What a panorama! Here begins my journey through time. I follow the flow of the river Saale eastwards. The orchards are crowned by Gozek, formerly a border fortress against the Slavs, castle of the Palatine from Saxony, and a monastery. The Roman crypt from 1046 is a place of wonder. Here was where the Benedict monks practiced their faith and brought wine to the emerging cultural landscape. I walk through the historical hillside vineyards of Saale and Unstrut. The finest grapes have flourished here since the late Middle Ages. Wine growers of the region produce wine of the highest quality. The fertile lands have been sought after throughout history. The Naumburg bishops protected their lands with the Schönberg Castle. The palace and the tower house stand witness to the lives lived. The bishops succeeded in bringing about a peaceful emergence of the diverse cultures. The circular settlement of Groß-Wilsdorf, a village structure of the Slavs. The linear settlement of Flemmingham was constructed in 1140 by Flemish farmers and still stands to this day. I follow the trail of the bishops up along the Saale. The power of the currents was the motor of the Middle Ages. It leads me to the inventors of the past, the studied Cistercian monks of Forte. They studied the sciences in their monastery. The imposing western facade of the church is an eloquent symbol, with promises to the entrance of the gates of heaven. The watermill technology of the monks was way ahead of its time. The monastery remains a center of science and learning to the present day, in the form of the internationally renowned boarding school Landesschule Forte. I discover original manuscripts recording daily life in the ancient library. The books record the memories left by the monks. I read about their destinies in the journals, but also of intrigues and deceptions. All wanted to participate in the acquisition of wealth. Power struggles between the neighbouring lords were an inevitability. The Rudelsburg perches picturesquely on the steep limestone cliffs. It served as a controlled checkpoint on the ancient trading route of Via Regia. The centuries passed, but the powerful ruin remains. Nowadays, it is good food and wine that welcomes me here. Time to indulge and enjoy. For many, the Rudelsburg is a symbol of medieval nostalgia. In the neighbouring region, the next castle, the romantic ruins of Saale Castle. The whole community works to retain the ruin. I am witness to the tireless volunteer work present in the stones of its history. Neighbouring it stands the Unstrut escarpment, the old monastery church of Chyplitz, built in the 12th century. I discover a Romanesque treasure, painstakingly restored. I had been strongly recommended to take this unique view of the late Middle Age cultural landscape. In view is the powerful Naumburg, crowning the landscape of the horizon. The castle is an impregnable fortress standing high above the 13th century winemaking town of Freiburg. It was the main seat of power for the Duke of Thuringia and a centre of court culture. The Naumburg bridges an architectural rarity in that it has two chapels joined by an opening. The Duke attended service in the higher chapel and the rest of the castle's court in the lower. Later, I'm struck by the moving face of the young Elizabeth of Thuringia. She gave her life to caring for the sick and the poor and is regarded today as a saint around the world. This is the altar where she prayed. With her deep devotion to Jesus, she shunned her prosperity, giving away her clothes and voluntarily living a life of poverty and humility. Elizabeth, an icon of the Middle Ages. But how was castle life over 1,000 years ago? The small treasures of the castle give flight to my fantasies. Games were played. The first literature of the court's knights, Aeneas Roman, was written by Heinrich of Waldecker under commission from the Duke of Naumburg. It was the first epic poem written in the Middle High German language. They are living history books, monuments of the century crafted from a particular stone that one can find to this day all over the region. Red sandstone and shell limestone. Foam limestone was the ideal material for sculpting. It was the chosen material of the legendary Naumburg master. He created the founding figures for the west choir of the Naumburg Cathedral. The figures stand emotive and animated. I've never seen anything quite like it. They are the crowning glory of High Middle Age sculpture. The masterpiece within the Naumburg Cathedral is famous around the world and is repeatedly the focus of the sciences. I experience the cathedral as a living symbol of faith. It is the symbol of the cultural landscape on the Saale and Unstrut. Nowhere else in the world can one experience such a concentrated collection of monuments and cultural artifacts from the Middle Ages over such a small area. They serve as a legacy and an incentive for the whole region, an impressive witness to humanity. Naumburg Cathedral and the high medieval cultural landscape of the rivers Saale and Unstrut, on their way to be World Heritage Sites.